All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, it is that time of the week, folks. My weekly picks in the world of the National Football League. Got things started off on the right foot this Thursday night as I picked the Cincinnati Bengals to hold serve at home versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Jacksonville was more game than I expected as it took a late field goal from Cincinnati to overtake the Jags. But with that said, there's some good action on tap for tomorrow as well as a Monday night affair. And with that said, here are the remainder of my picks for week number 4 here in the 2021 NFL season. Now, you're going to have the 1-2 Washington football team traveling to take on the 1-2 Atlanta Falcons. And, one of these teams, they're going to be 2-2, even though both of them have not been playing well. You look at Atlanta, they have some momentum for themselves after their comeback win on the road last week versus the New York Football Giants, while Washington is looking to get back on track after they were taken behind the woodshed at the hands of the Buffalo Bills. Of course, both of these teams can say they beat the Giants. That's their only victory on this early season. But I look at this game and it's going to come down to defense. And I like Washington's defense in this contest, especially after they were embarrassed by Buffalo last week. And honestly, Washington's defense has not played well all season long. I think this is a good opportunity for them to get healthy. And with that said, I'm going to take Washington on the road by the score of 23-18. Now, the team that took Washington behind the woodshed last week, you're talking about the Buffalo Bills. And Buffalo will host the 1-2 Houston Texans. Buffalo comes into this game more than a 2-touchdown favorite at home versus the Texans. And, you're looking at a Buffalo team right now that following their week 1 loss at home to Pittsburgh, they're beginning to click on all cylinders. I love this running game with Devin Singletary. It sets up the play action passing for this offense, but most importantly, this defense. And when you think about this Buffalo defense, they're going to have an opportunity to tee off in this game versus rookie quarterback Davis Mills for the Texans. And because of that, I'm going to take Buffalo to roll by the score of 34-13. Now it's going to be an NFC North showdown in the Windy City as you're going to have the 1-2 Chicago Bears hosting the winless Detroit Lions. And Detroit, what can you say? Last week was nothing but heartache for them. They thought they had the game versus the Baltimore Ravens, only to lose on an NFL record 66-yard field goal at home. Now for Washington, for Chicago rather, it was a situation, we saw the quarterback issues last week. Rookie Justin Fields going up against a vicious Cleveland Browns pass rush. They sacked him to the tune of 9 times in that contest, and Chicago's got to play better. I look at this game like this. I think this is going to be a very physical defensive game with two desperate teams. But I think this is going to be the Lions' best opportunity to have a win just due to the fact that their quarterback play is a little bit better than Chicago's right now. This one going to take the Lions on the road by the score of 20-17. Now in Arlington, you're going to have the 2-1 Dallas Cowboys hosting the undefeated Carolina Panthers. Both of these teams could arguably be in this game with unblemished records as Dallas, they played Tampa Bay tough in week number 1, but they just couldn't get it done. Dallas has gotten back on track with their last 2 weeks, and Dak Prescott is looking like the Dak Prescott before he got injured last year, and that's a big thing for this Dallas offense. Defensively, Dallas has improved, and they've got to go out there and do something that no Carolina opponent has been able to do so far this season, which is to make quarterback Sam Darnold uncomfortable. But this Panthers defense is improved as well. They're flying around the football, and it's going to be interesting to see if they'll be able to put some pressure on Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. I think this is going to be a solid game, but I think Dallas will have enough to hold off Carolina at home. Thus, I'm going to take the Cowboys by the score of 31-23. Now, down in South Florida, you're going to have the 1-2 Miami Dolphins hosting the winless Indianapolis Colts. And for Indy, it just has not been coming together so far this season. While for Miami, they are licking their wounds after that tough overtime loss last week on the road versus the Raiders. I look at this contest. I think Miami's going to get back on track. Jacoby Brissett, I don't think he gets enough credit for being a decent NFL quarterback, and now he gets to face his former employer in the Dolphins, and I think that will be the difference in, pardon me, in the Colts rather. But I think this will be the difference in his game, as I'm going to take Miami at home by the score of 24-20. Now you're going to have the 2-1 Cleveland Browns traveling to take on the 1-2 Minnesota Vikings. Cleveland comes into this game flying high after their big victory last week versus the Chicago Bears, while Minnesota, they got their first dub of the season at home last week versus Seattle. You look at Minnesota. This is a team that could very easily be 3-0. Heartbreaking loss in week one to Cincinnati, and then followed by another heartbreaking loss to Arizona in week number two. This is a time of season. It's still early, and teams are beginning to feel out what they can and can't do. And I think this is going to be a back and forth, nip and tuck type of affair. But I'm going to take Minnesota in a squeaker at home by the score of 24-23. Now, on the Bayou, you're going to have the 2-1 New Orleans Saints hosting the winless New York Giants. And for New York, another heartbreaking loss last week as his team simply does not know how to win. Now you're asking a quarterback in Daniel Jones to go up against one of the better defenses in the NFL and do it without two of his better receivers in Darius Slayton and Sterling Shepard. The Giants defense has not been as good as they were last season, and now they're without their middle linebacker, the heart and soul of this unit, in one Blake Martinez, as he was lost to this for the season to an ACL injury. Quarterback Jameis Winston, he's been like night and day for this Saints offense. It's more or less which Jameis are we going to get in this one. But it doesn't matter because I like the Saints defense going up against this Giants offense. And I think when it's all said and done, New Orleans is going to beat the brakes off of the Giants in their first true home game of the season. I'm going to take the Saints by the score of 37-17. Now at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, you're going to have the winless New York Jets. And of course, we hear this trend going with New York football teams right now, hosting the 2-1 Tennessee Titans. And for Jets quarterback Zach Wilson, he has a tall task because you're asking a rookie quarterback who does not have a lot of talent around him to go out there and succeed. Good luck. Tennessee is looking better as the weeks progress, and I expect a big game from Derrick Henry in this one. While I think this Titans defense is going to have the opportunity to tee off on young Mr. Wilson as they double up the Jets by the score of 34-17. Now, in the city of brotherly love, you're going to have the 1-2 Kansas City Chiefs taking on the 1-2 Philadelphia Eagles. And it's not too many people that at this point of the season expect Kansas City and Philly to have the same record. And you can make the case that Kansas City could easily be 0-3 in this one. I think the key for Kansas City, they have to find a way to start fast on offense because, like I've talked about, teams are trying to put them in chase mode. And I think Kansas City has to get back to that. And they have to establish the short passes and the running game in order to set up the deep stuff to the likes of Tyreek Hill. This Chiefs defense has to be up for the challenge. They have to go out there and try to confuse the youngster at quarterback for Philadelphia in one Jalen Hurts. Of course, this is another game for former Eagles head coach Andy Reid against his former club. Granted, a lot of the personnel has changed as Reid once upon a time was the head coach of the Eagles. But I think this trip to Philly is just what the doctor ordered for KC to get back on track. Thus, I'm going to take the Chiefs by the score of 30-20. Now, an NFC West showdown in Inglewood, as you're going to have the undefeated Los Angeles Rams hosting the undefeated Arizona Cardinals. Both of these teams in the early stages of this season look like the real deal, and they are legit Super Bowl contenders. Hands down, the best team that Matthew Stafford has been a part of in his long NFL career. And I think he's going to ride that to a big season here in 2021. On the flip side, the Cardinals are the young upstarts with the youngster at quarterback and Kyler Murray, but I love their defense with Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt and how they're able to collapse that pocket. Of course, when you think about defense, you can't talk about defense in this game and not mention Aaron Donald at defensive tackle for the Rams. I think this is going to be a nip and tuck, back and forth affair. It's going to be a lot of feeling out early to see what can do, who can do what. And of course, both of these teams are very familiar with each other due to the fact that they play two games twice a year. Last team with the football wins, I think it's the Rams. That's why I'm going to take Los Angeles by the score of 28-24. Now, another NFC West showdown is you're going to have the 2-1 San Francisco 49ers hosting the 1-2 Seattle Seahawks. And for San Francisco, they had that heartbreaking loss last week on Sunday night at home to Green Bay. They thought they had it, but the bottom line is you can't give Aaron Rodgers 37 seconds or more to go out there and get the job done. For Seattle, the Seahawks, so far this season, they just don't have any sizzle. And I know that you still have Russell Wilson at quarterback for the Seahawks, but just something is missing from this club. For the 49ers, they got to get back on track. Both of these teams are going to be desperate in this game because Seattle doesn't want to fall to 1-3 in this tough division, and San Francisco doesn't want to lose two in a row, especially two home games after they won two games on the road to begin the year. So it's going to be who is more desperate to get the victory. My money is on San Francisco, and that's going to take the Niners in a tight one by the score of 27-24. Now in Denver, you're going to have the undefeated Broncos hosting the 2-1 Ravens. And this is a bigger test for the Broncos due to the fact that their three victories this season have come against the Giants, Jaguars, and Jets, three teams who have a combined record of 0-9. Baltimore, they come into this contest as a walking wounded. A lot of injuries on both sides of the football for the Ravens, but they still have Lamar Jackson. And of course, they have kicker Justin Turner. And we saw Justin Turner make that 66-yard kick last week, and now you're giving him the opportunity to go into the thin Rocky Mountain air. But on the other side of this equation right here, I look at Broncos quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. Bridgewater is playing some of the best football of his career. And then you look at this Broncos defense. They are getting after people. Vic Fangio knows how to coach up a defense, and he's going to make life tough for one Lamar Jackson in this game. Thus, I'm going to take Denver at home by the score of 23-17. Now, a battle of legendary NFL franchises, as you're going to have the 1-2 Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to take on the 2-1 Green Bay Packers. And there are people that are starting to say that Ben Roethlisberger is starting to look like a shell of himself. And when people say that, it might be time to hang it up. I know that the Steelers have some injuries. They are expecting TJ Watt back for this game, but no Chase Claypool at wide receiver. So it's going to be interesting to see what this Pittsburgh offense looks like. They got to get the football to rookie running back Najee Harris a little bit more in this game to change the dynamic of what the Steelers can do. But Pittsburgh has to find a way to slow down number 12. And if you cannot stop Aaron Rodgers, you're in for a long afternoon in Lambeau. I don't see Green Bay losing at home in this one. Thus, I'm going to take the Pack by the score of 31-20. Now, on Sunday Night Football is the one that everybody's been talking about all week long, as you're going to have the 2-1 Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to Foxboro to take on the 1-2 New England Patriots. And of course, this game's all about Tom Brady. We know what Tom Brady has done in 2 decades as a starting quarterback for the Patriots, led that organization to 6 championships, left last year as a free agent, went to Tampa Bay and won a Super Bowl. And now he's coming back home. I expect a lot of pomp and pageantry prior to this game as the Patriots welcome back number 12 to Foxborough. But when the ball is in the air, it's going to be go time. And I think Tom Brady is one of the best as far as zeroing out the white noise and focusing on what he needs to focus on in order to succeed. On the flip side, you have a rookie quarterback for the Patriots and one Mac Jones. And, he is, last week was the first time he looked like a rookie going up against the Saints. And now you have a Todd Bowles coordinated defense that can really change up schemes in that cover 2 and really invite a youngster at quarterback to make mistakes. But make no mistake about it, Tom Brady has circled this game on his calendar for a while, and I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to go up there and take care of business. As I'm going to take the Bucks to roll by the score of 41-24. And finally, on Monday night, you're going to have an AFC West showdown, an old school AFC West showdown, as I think this is going to be a thriller. As you're going to have the 3-0 Las Vegas Raiders traveling to Inglewood to take on the 2-1 Los Angeles Chargers. Derek Carr, the Raiders starting quarterback, is playing some of the best football of his career so far, and that's important as the Raiders look to make the playoffs. But you look at the Chargers, Justin Herbert's been solid, and very easily the Chargers could come into this contest undefeated as well. Both of these teams know the importance of this game. Both of these teams know that they have a leg up on Kansas City in the AFC West, and neither one of them wants to relent. But I'm going to take the Chargers at home by the score of 31-28. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.